That is
Hi,
a giant teacup. What is that? Erin Saxton and I met. The year was 1997. Oh my God. You had gotten a job with The View. It was The View's first week on the air. They were all staffed up, and I was an intern.
Yes.
And so I was there bright and early in the morning, and I got to go intern for the co-host. But I wanted to intern for the producers because I was like, the co-hosting is great. I love opening their mail with they get weird stuff. They get great stuff too, but they get weird stuff.
I love ordering their breakfast sandwiches in the morning.
Breakfast, yes. But then there was your beautiful smiling face, right? You had all these producers, and then there was Erin, who you just have a different energy. Oh. You don't mind always just being yourself, right? I just loved your energy. You treated everybody fairly and the same. You weren't always, you never played favorites. You were just always comfortable being yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes. And thank you for noticing that. No, really. I do. I honestly thank you. Even when I get older, I just keep embracing I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. But if there's that, the person in the movie who does that slow, I'm that person. But most of the time in my life, I go to do the slow clap and no one follows, and you're like, well, all right, that was a moment missed by everyone else. But yeah, our industry's pretty intense, right? So by the time I got to The View, I had been around the block a little bit. And you had to develop your own personality so you could survive in our industry.
1,000%. And then I followed in your footsteps a little bit because you started at the Barbara Walter specials.
Yes.
And so because The View is staffed up, I was pushed to the Barbara Walter specials because Bill, the executive producer, didn't want to lose me per se because he realized, I don't know, I guess that I just am a yes person and I'll do whatever anybody tells me, or I'm really good at what I do.
You are, and you were really great at your job. So every once in a while there comes along a special, right? And a twinkly person. And we see those people. When I was your age at that moment, I was the twinkly. And I started as an intern at Good Morning America, and then got hired once I graduated. And then from Good Morning America went into Barwell Productions, which is Barbara Walters production company. So yeah, you were, and then I stayed there. And I only left briefly to go to Rosie and a Dow Jones show. And then they brought me back to launch The View with them. So they don't like to let twinkly people go.
I love that. That's really cute the way you explain that. Nice. I think Barwell and I were just 2 years. I just did a nice 2-year stint, and then a position opened up at The View, and I just literally went from one to the next, and then covered for Jen Brookman, who was pregnant. And so when Jen went on maternity leave, Dusty was like, you're going to produce and cover for her. And I was like, oh, well, because the moment that you've been waiting for happens, and then you're like,
yeah.
Wait, what?
Dusty's saying that to you. We should get her on the phone. Producer. Get her on the phone. Alexandra Cohen on the phone right now. She needs to weigh in here.
I want her to come on so bad.
Why don't you? She's running Cuomo now.
I know, but isn't she always busy? I'm going to stalk her. I'll stalk her. But by this time, you were gone. You left.
I did.
What did you go to do?
What I did was I don't know what Emmy nomination we had lost. It was the Susan Lucci of producers. Susan Lucci, by the way, back in the day, would be nominated a 14 times 3.7 to the fifth power million times. And she didn't win, except I was in the audience when she finally won. I was also in the audience when the Rosie O'Donnell show won and beat us out. And literally they put us in the same row. Now I just left that show. They're down there, right? They win for best talk show. And I was like, oh, come on. You know what? And one person, I kid you not, she didn't mean to, or did she? She literally stepped on my toes. Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. Like as you shimmy down in radio, I guess it was Radio City. I don't know where we were, but literally stepped on my toes. Figuratively, literally stabbed to the heart.
They were like, nice that you left us to go to this loser show. Yeah, I mean, we were up against Rosie like year after year after year, and then Rosie kept winning. And then after Rosie left, wasn't it the Ellen DeGeneres show? And then I think they like gave us a...
And the joke is, Oprah at the time still had her show. God, I'm like, this is really back in the day. But she just kept winning, Oprah. So finally, like, she did a mercy poll. She was like, we're out, you know, you don't have to give us an award. We know. And she's not wrong. So then that opened up the floodgates for like, maybe we have a shot.
Whatever.
Not better.
But when you're in that space, I think that like, I'm the type of person, I think maybe it's the ADHD brain. Like I want something so bad, then I get it. Then I'm like, great, what's next? And so Dusty would make fun of me sometimes. She's like, oh, it's the producer that doesn't want to produce. And I'm like, it's not that I don't want to produce. It was just the same show over and over again. It's a completely different show now. It's actually where my brain wanted it to be, right? Because
Really?
I felt like, yes, because I was all about Hot Topics. So when I left TV, right, like I love Hot Topics. I love that space to be in. Not a lot of people were doing it, if anybody at all, in daytime TV, right?
Sure.
So it made us stand out. Mm-hmm. And so that's literally why I kind of jumped to film first and then jumped to radio, because to me, radio was like 4 hours of just Hot Topics, right? And also breaking that fourth wall of being able to talk to people and have the audience just as much of a part of the show. I even think in the very beginning, they tried to take like audience questions and it just didn't work, right? It was just like, this is not going to work. So I left because I wanted to be able to sort of do 4 hours of Hot Topics. I loved that whole idea and concept. And so a lot of people think going from TV to radio is a step down. I loved it. It was a smaller team. I was in control of everything. It was a lot of work, but like when you have the audience just as much of a part of the show as you are, anything can happen. When you left The View,
I think it's adorable because you're like, well, I went and took a step down. You know, I became like the, you know, crazy multicolor hair stepchild because I left the media to go into public relations. Wait, what? Like, yeah, I did that.
Well, explain to people like,
I will. Bill Geddie,
as a producer,
like, no one does this. And I'm like, oh no. And he's like, what? You're never going to make it. And I'm like, that's oddly not nice, but
you're like, thank you so much.
Later on, like years later, he's like, you did it. I'm like, yeah, I guess like it's, but yeah, we came full circle with it. But anyway, so I had,
but like pause for 1 second. The reason why he really said that is because he didn't want to lose you. You were like a kid to him, right? Like he watched you grow up. So I want people to understand he wasn't being a dick to her. Like, so it was like trying to get her to stay, and that was his like last ditch effort.
He and Barbara were such wonderful mentors. Unfortunately, they both passed, and that's just devastating to me.
You and I, as our like twinkly star selves, both had really special relationships with them because we worked on both shows. And for people to understand, The View had a very big team. The Barbara Walters specials, had a very small team. It was more like a family. And so they had staff members and then a couple of freelancers would come in for each production, right? So that's why
maybe 8 people, 7, 5, 4, like it's really tiny. So yeah, in all truth. And so when I left, I had an idea for a PR company, and the PR company, I didn't even call it a PR company. It was really like this boutique concept that bridged the gap between the media and anybody who wanted to be in the media. And the reason why I did it was because we would all sit in that back room with the dry erase boards, and you would plot out, I don't know, 2 months in advance, and you'd have to, as a producer, you're just looking at I called them holes, right? I don't know. Like now I think I probably get brought up on some weird charge for saying that. But anyway, like I had openings. Oh, even worse, I guess. I don't know. I had slots. I had input. Something.
Segment slots. We had segment slots to fill. Were they 5 or 7 segments? I can't remember. I feel like it was 5.
The main 5 was the sandwich, but there was.
And then you had your intro and your outro was like 6 and 7. Yeah.
That was like just the writers had to do like a 20-second, take a little time to enjoy the view. And that was like 7 segments, siete, right? So I had this idea of bridging the gap between media and anybody who wanted to be in the media, because we would sit in the back room like, I don't know, not sexy contestants on Survivor. And we would literally duke out creative ideas of what we should have on the show and book on the show. And, it's not like we could be like, well, I think we should have George Clooney. No, that's not that. While that department worked very hard and booked the celebrities, because that you had to really worry about, you don't want to be like sloppy force. So you don't even want to get them second, right? So so that was their own, God bless them, that any department on any talk show that does that, buy them coffee and just maybe slip them a Xanax, because they need it. They deserve it, right? But then you have the workhorses of the dun, 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 back half of the show. And that, you're right. Should we do a fashion show? Should we do a makeover? Like I did one segment called Stinky Feet. Yeah, Stinky Feet. Because I always tried to go a little, one, I wanted to come up with pitches that no one could steal at the table. And they all tried to steal each other's ideas. Like I have to be honest, I never did that. And it annoyed me when they did. And I'm just going to say they, and that's a good pronoun. So
wait, pause. So 2 things. It's a pitch meeting. So literally exactly what Erin's saying. There's a huge table and we're all sitting around it. Most of the producers get
like, oh my God. Like, and then you got your notes out and you're like, oh my God. Okay. And then there's always some people that are like this, right? Oh, it's today. Oh, okay. Oh yeah. I've been working on this all month long. And then it's like, suddenly, go ahead, keep going.
I was like going through all the magazines. Back in the day, it was magazines. So I would be like, oh my God, we need ideas. Because we would get ideas from magazines or emails, right? And a lot of us would get the same emails. And so when you say like we're duking it out over the same thing, it's because most of us are getting the same pitches. And a crappy pitch, most of us would just let go, but a really good pitch, most of us would all want to pitch. And what Erin's talking about, the gap to fill, is getting those pitches over and over again, not getting enough good ones, right? Because publicists and marketing directors really don't know how to pitch. They know how to promote. Right. Hence her company. Exactly.
I was like, I never want anybody to have a crappy pitch meeting again. I'm going to leave TV and I'm going to write all the pitches for everyone in the land.
And they're going to be amazing. Well, here's the other thing I don't think people know. Because of that pressure for a producer to fill the slots, right? To fill those segments. And that not just at The View, in every TV, news, the whole thing. It's all the same thing, right? It's just a different genre or a different niche.
Podcasters, like
right.
Everything's
it's all the same.
Yeah.
Right. But we have our list of experts. If you watch CNN, ABC, Fox, all those things, and you see like the same 10 experts over and over again that they're churning, it's because we're lazy and we don't want to have to pre-interview new people. I know that this is my finance guy. This is my doctor for this. This is my whatever for this, right? I have my experts and I'm done. What Erin set out to do was create a new space for more experts, different people, authors, whatever it was, to actually have a shot in this media landscape. Because as producers, we're like, we need to fill the hole and get it done. We don't want to have to like pre-interview somebody and are they okay on camera and da-da-da-da-da. When you have an Erin that actually did all of that, plus the media coaching, plus she can tell you exactly like, here's 5 things going on right now that this client's perfect for. it just makes it so much easier on us. So if anybody ever wonders, like, oh, how do you become an expert on like a news station or a TV show or anywhere? Get to know the producers. Get to know the producers, but also have a really good media reel. Like, have your together. I want you to talk about that a little bit.
No, it's really trying to figure out what their audience wants, or what the producers want, or the editors want, right? And a lot of people, so I launched this company, and I've been doing this for like, I don't know, 80 years now. So I sold that first one. I left, I ran it for 12 years, and then I merged and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I'm still doing this, but now just in different ways. Right. But honestly, Rachel, it still comes down to that. It still comes down to figuring out what can you talk about that people are going to be interested, that are running the shows, but it's really what's going on for their audience. So first, you got to make sure, like, just because your mother-in-law or your sister thinks it would be awesome for you to be on blah, blah, blah show or on the Wall Street Journal, like, if you don't have topics appropriate for these said outlets and audiences, then I think you need family therapy, and you can just go and prove that your worth is better to your, like, right? So unfortunately, like, if you're a lawn fertilizer company, you may not necessarily be appropriate for the Kelly Clarkson show. Except if you work with somebody like me, then I could be like, oh, well, there's windowsill gardening. And then there's like, and I would come up with, and not just me, like, in theory, if a producer had the time or was forced to create something magical from your pitch that you send, they could absolutely come up with that. The challenge is they're not going to be able to give you that time. Our attention span is literally 8 seconds now. Goldfish have like 20 seconds. So if you're a goldfish company and you're pitching to goldfish, then you have a better shot of being in all the goldfish media than you do in any of the human being media. So good luck with that. And it's literally about figuring out who you are and really getting real with what you're offering, what you can say, what you want to say. And and don't make it about your ego. It has to literally be in service, so to speak, for the audience, but it has to be packaged in a way that feels cool enough, clever enough, smart enough, interesting enough, unique enough for the person receiving the pitch who decides your fate.
So breaking that down a little bit, authors are the hardest because their pitches are always about the book. Nobody cares about your book. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry, authors. Nobody cares. However,
you don't read your book, even when you're on the show, they don't read your book. A lot of authors fall into a trap. Well, and publishers too. Like, a lot of if you still go with the big boys, their job is to promote the book. So as authors, I like working with authors a lot, actually, because to me, I don't care if it's in your book or not. If it's in your brain and you can talk about it, we're gonna develop that. So those are always fun conversations, because they're like, but it's not in my book. And I'm like, but it's in your brain. So like, authors need to know, like, you're more than just your book. A book is just a sliding glass door into your brand. It shouldn't not be ever your brand, right? There's way more to you than just that book, because you're going to probably do 4 more books.
Right. It validates you as the expert that you are in your niche, right? And so what Erin would do basically is she can take a breaking news story. She knows who her clients are. And so she can immediately be like, oh my God, wait, I have the perfect person to talk about this breaking news story. I have them right now. I know they're available. I know they're good on camera, right? I know they can talk. And so she can immediately pitch right away that like, hey, this breaking news story, this person would be perfect for it. Oh, by the way, the call to action at the end is just, oh, by the way, buy their book, right? Like it's here. It's buried in the end. That's just the like, great, throw that out there. But it has nothing to do with the book. It has to do with the person as the expert on the topic. And so that's why it's great to have an Erin, because like that's how your brain would work too. Like you're putting those puzzle pieces together. Like where could these people fit in?
Yeah, my brain always works. My brain is different. I know that, but it's quirky and multi-level. It's like a network marketing company, right? It's like, wait, like, but yeah, I don't know what else I would do. I think I would be a psychologist actually with my brain, because I could go there in all different tangents when the client is or the patient's talking. I'll be like, but wait, you know. So if you're working with one of the big boy publishers, though, that is their job. So they're not motivated, so to speak. Listen, I'm not saying it in a bad way, but their job is to promote that book. Whereas as an outside marketing PR person, and to me now, all of this falls under marketing. I think you can position it where the book in some ways gets its due, but then you as a brand voice gets a thought leadership gets its due. Like, you kind of just unpack it. So I kind of slice it and dice it, so to speak. And that's just how it gets done.
Well, I also think people don't understand, like, just because you got a publisher to help you promote the book, you still have to do all the work. Like, you still have to put all the work in. So that's why having an Erin is so great, is because she'll do that footwork for you, right? Like, you can just answer all her questions, make yourself available, make sure if they need media coaching, you can do that easily. But like the marketing part, like everybody works so hard to get that book published. They don't realize like, oh no, you have like so much more work to do. That's great.
It's like we got pregnant. You have a baby. And it's almost like I get these calls and it's almost like, well, I had the baby. Yeah, now you got to raise it. Like you actually have to talk to this thing and feed it. And I don't know, like, so it's a book or a business or whatever. It's nothing different. It's just not, and there's still the heartbeat, like it's still living and breathing. It's like, and now you put social media into it. It definitely is. So, you have to treat your company like it's an entity. It's, you have to parent it. So I do this whole dorky thing with like marketing mom, and the mom has 3 daughters. The eldest daughter's advertising, the middle child's PR, and then the baby, she didn't know she was going to get pregnant again, is this thing called social media. And like, it's like this little thing, like an elf on a shelf. And you have to watch it swim in the pool. You can't leave it in the car when you run into Target. DIFUS will call you. You don't know what the baby's going to do when you're not watching it. And it's right. Social media gets out of control. PR is still that middle child, loves to stir the pot, loves for people talking about her. She'd rather it be positive, but she's oddly okay if it's a little weird, as long as she's in the conversation. And then my eldest child, advertising, is so demure and so reliable that you know what you're going to get. So when I do an ad for a billboard or a bus or a little circular, I approve this and I know what I get. Firstborn, right? So marketing in my crazy brain is, how am I the parent of my company or your company, right? And so I love sitting down with people, even if they want to stay in charge of everything, because I can only represent so many people. I love just meeting with them for like 4 hours. And I just do organic marketing mixed in with some like paid stuff. And I bring in as the mom and I just try to bring it all in. And I write like, a 20-page plan. And I'm really oddly fine with giving it back to them so they can keep doing it themselves. But I'm not sure, knowing you birthed this baby. You already probably had another job. Now you have this baby. but now we're giving you insider info of how it needs to work with the media. And the media, if you notice, isn't even one of the daughters, because the media intersects with each of the marketing, advertising, PR, and social media. So in order to really get anybody to know your baby properly, you now need to not only be an expert on this baby, but now you need to learn how to be a marketer, advertiser, public relations specialist, social media, content, and master the media. Like, I don't know how I don't know how that's all supposed to happen for somebody. I'm not sure.
Why most of us lead to burnout. Because I feel like media is that fair weather friend. Like when you're cool, they want to be friends with you. But then when you're not cool anymore, they don't want to be friends with you. Does that make sense? Because when you're hot, you're hot. Well, everybody wants you. And then when you're not, you're not.
But leveraging the media placement, right? Because media is a flash in the pan. So media doesn't sustain a brand. So when I first left The View, I was like, well, what's your marketing plan? They're like, well, I'm calling you. Okay, I appreciate that. But then I was like, well, you're hiring me to pitch the media for you. What's the rest of the plan? And they're like, you are the plan. And I'm like, oh, no, I am not. No, sir. You have to have all of this other stuff in place, because don't you want to you have to keep feeding the monster. It's like the ticket muncher at Chuck E. Cheese. Like, it just keeps, like you have to keep feeding it to let it go. A placement on the Today Show is going to give you a nice little boost, but after 3 days, no.
Yeah, that's where like the 15 minutes of fame came from. That's literally it. It's a bump. And then like everyone's like, what's next? Right. Same thing with us. I mean, that was my whole career as a producer, right? It's even still now. You're only as good as your last segment, right? We'd go to a postmortem meeting. It would be after the show and it'd be, that was great. What are you doing tomorrow? And you're like, oh my God, I literally just worked on that for like 2 weeks. I'm dying. I'm so happy it was executed great. But like, okay, pat myself on the back and we move forward, right? And it's the same thing with everything. You're only as good as your next thing. What is the next thing that's coming out? So while you're churning and you're like creating and you're promoting and we're doing all the things, you also have to be creating something over here at the same time. So when this ends, you take over with the next thing. Yeah. And people like, I mean, I'm already burned out just talking about it. That's why you're so important in the like ether of this whole plan for businesses, for experts, for authors. Are you just working with authors now, or are you still okay? So you can take okay.
No, I love working with everybody. Because I would burn out then too if I was just in, I'll work with children's authors. I don't work with a lot of fiction authors, just like fiction, so sorry. That's just, it's tough, right? And so, but I love spokespeople, thought leaders, companies that make things that don't really have a spokesperson. I love all of that. I love all of it. So, we could go fun, we could go bougie, we could go STEM science, like it's fine. We can do it all.
But that's what I explain to clients is like, congratulations on launching the thing, but it doesn't end there. And so you need not just what Erin's doing, but you also need a social media manager. And I think a lot of people, I have to explain, like, it's going to hurt financially before it gets better.
Totally.
Right? Like it's an investment. You are investing in future income. Right. Yeah. And so I don't think people get it because they all think like, oh, well, then I can just do it myself. I'm like, go ahead. Did you hear everything Erin just said? That's just one compartment.
Yeah.
Right. Then you have to do all the work. You have to do the social posts, right? You have no manager, like social media manager. Like it doesn't just end there. It doesn't end.
It doesn't end. And so I many a times they're calling me like almost like a general contractor of somebody's brand, because then I'll call you, or I'll call and a writer, or like indifferent for something else, like for op-ed pieces, or, and it might not be full-time jobs for like some of those other people. Yours would always be, because it's the baby. You can't, right? You don't need advertising unless you get social media advertising to boost the baby. Okay. That's advertising, right? So, that's like $10 a day, $44 a day, whatever it is. But, a lot of people think it's super expensive, and it is. However, if executed and planned out correctly, it doesn't have to be, $1 million a month for 12 months. It's like it's just like a process, like an ebb and a flow. And, you do that.
Well, also, you see what is working, right? You can change your pitches, you can pivot. And that's why having a brain like yours on your team is so much better than just doing this solo, because you can just easily be like, okay, now we're going to try this. Now we're going to try this. Now we can boost this. Now we're going to try this. Whereas if you're in it alone, you can't see, what do they say? You can't see the forest from the trees, right? Like your brain can see the whole picture because you've been in every scenario. Mm-hmm. But like me, as my little like brand company author, whatever it is, expert, I don't know what else to be doing. And I think that a lot of times people are trying to rely on social media, but you can't, like, you have to build a following to pitch to. So if you're not in that space where you are like influencer level, where people you have super fans, they buy whatever you're selling, amazing. Your conversion is 1% of organic reach. Right. So regardless, you will have to spend money at some point if you want people to see what you're doing.
It's true. I like to fail fast. And because it's not my brand, I think somebody needs to objectively always look at the brand and then be uncomfortable, or being comfortable being uncomfortable, to have the conversation to say, okay, and it's not just about pitching the media. It could be, are you doing a mailer? Are you doing an event? Are you trying to get speaking engagements? It's not always just about the media that we do it. There's paid speaking engagements, there's book signings, there's talking at schools, there's going to trade shows, there's being like conference speakers, breakout speakers, there's then you go the digital marketing route, which is, your emails every day, your click-through campaigns, like, blah, 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 like all of that. It's a lot. And you don't know what you don't know necessarily, right? So you have to kind of explore it all, because no two brands are the same. You could be like, literally, you could think they're the same, but they're not. McDonald's and Burger King, great example. So totally different brands, right? So back in the day, Burger King didn't have, I think the story goes like this, but McDonald's would do all this research and data and driven, and then they plant a McDonald's, and that's where they put a franchise. Burger King went, hey, Stella, give me a current list of where all the McDonald's are. Why, Mr. Jacoby? Well, because wherever there's a McDonald's, I'm putting a Burger King. Two different companies, two different plans, two different marketing, right? That's marketing. That's the decision making. So everybody, and that works perfectly, because they're pretty much the same demographics. There's not, but if you look at it, within, I'd say 2 miles of every McDonald's, I bet you find a Burger King.
Well, because quite honestly, I love a Whopper, but McDonald's fries and Coke. So like my happiest time. And fattest, by the way, was coming home from the radio, and there would be a Burger King, McDonald's, a Taco Bell, and a Checkers. Well, and I'd be like, oh God. So right, I'd get my Whopper, and then I would get my McDonald's fries and Coke on my way home. Like, this will make me feel better. No, just, 100 pounds later.
I'm a Wendy's taco salad. Taco Bell serves fountain Pepsi, though, because I'm a Pepsi girl, regular Pepsi. And McDonald's fries, hands down, obviously. But then, every once in a while, a good Burger King onion ring. And then I do,
it is a whole thing. Something I tell my clients is people believe the story you're telling them. Mm-hmm. So get really clear on your why, right? Like McDonald's story, their why is different than Burger King's why, right? People buy the why, they don't buy the what. That's why, I teach real estate agents. There's like 3 million of you. Why should I go to you beyond this other one, right? Like, what is your why? And be very clear in your why, be very clear in your niche. And so in that same vein of people believe the story that you're telling them, do you have to walk clients through that process of, okay, we have to get clarity on your why, who are we pitching to? And then also, what's the end goal, right? Because a lot of people, it is generally, eventually, a book and a speaking engagement, right? Like that's eventually what everybody kind of just wants to get to.
Yeah. And also too, there's your why that you're telling yourself, but I tell myself a lot of stories, right? So let's just like keep asking yourself why. It might be, I just really want to be famous. And that's okay. I don't care. Like, I want to be famous too, right? I don't want to be infamous, but I'll take fame. I'll take a little fortune, right? So there's no judgment here. But if you're pretending that you really just care about the human nature and you're and there are people that don't want to be famous and they truly are servant leaders, that's great too. I'm just saying, let's get really clear as to your why, because your why normally isn't all that complicated. It's not like, back to the soil example, I just want the land to be fertile and green again. Shut up. That's just probably not true. If it is, then we might not be a good fit to work together, because like there has to be something juicier than that. However, so, but then what I find even more interesting than your why, I can take what you're saying and then plus it, is what you think how you think you're showing up is probably not exactly factual. So when I first start working with clients, I have a way for you to tell me who you are, who you think you are, and then I will figure out other ways, because I want to hear what other people think you are. So sometimes I have strangers audit a brand, you know, if it's an established brand and they're like, I don't know, I just can't increase my sales. Why not? Well, you know, so then all of a sudden I get an army of people that the client never meets. And then I do almost like an audit. And I'll be like, you know, just name all the things that you think, like, what does this company do? What is this book about? What is this person? And then I get to do the feedback with the client. Because everybody, back to the baby that you birth, everybody thinks that they've given birth to a really gorgeous, healthy baby. I've seen so many ugly babies. Humans. Some babies are really not attractive, right? It's the same. Like, is it going to grow up to be a great person? Sure, probably, maybe. I hope so. But what if it needs like some special schooling or braces or, you know, like I promise you that it's not perfect and it could get better, because we always could get better. So to me, I think we get in our own way about our company and about our brand and about who we are, because then ego comes into it, or like other people are telling us stuff, and you don't want to surround yourself with total bitchy people that like poop on you, but don't surround yourself with all these like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. No, don't do that either, because you're not going to get anywhere. I promise you.
Well, and to that point, I know where I'm stagnant is because I haven't niched down to one thing, is because I'm a creator that also creates for my page for other brands, but also help brands create better content. And so when you come to my stuff, you have no idea what I do. Don't know what I stand for, right? Like my little line is I help brands, or brands hire me to create content that converts. Like, what does that mean? Nobody knows.
So, that's not true. I do know what that means.
You know what that means. But does the normal person know what that means?
Right. But for you as a human, and we could turn the tables and I can show you how I'm messing up on my own stuff, because this is human. Don't think shoemaker. I'm not wearing shoes. I'm barefoot. I don't have any shoes. Shoemaker, no shoes. Come on, people.
Well, we're our own worst clients, right? Like we don't make ourselves our clients. We don't follow our own advice.
Yeah. So it's like my friend Patty goes, take my advice. I'm not using it. But, so yeah, right. Patty Aubrey, right? So basically it's a matter of what you want people to know so they feel like they can hire you, or like what are you trying to convey so you're ready. Now, if you're trying to launch your own brand, in addition to feeding your family and working for others, and I can speak to that firsthand, like that is incredibly hard, because am I showing up like a really smart strategist, PR marketing person, or am I really trying to grow my audience because I'm writing a book, because I used to be a size 26W and I really just want to talk and be like quirky with people, and I want like people everywhere to try to figure out how to get out of their heads and like stop the self-talk and crazy demons that, like that's truly where my heart is, but I have to feed my family and pay bills. So
I'm in that same space. That's where the pipe has the, like, we're stuck, because I want to be my authentic, funny self that I know would probably get me a faster audience, and I would be like here right now. But I'm scared. I think the fear is, because that's where we're stuck in the pipeline. Usually it's because of fear. How are these high-end clients going to hire somebody who is showing, yesterday I'm literally like in a bun with greasy hair and a t-shirt, with stains on it, like right. Opening my factor meals because I refuse to cook anymore, because if it doesn't move the needle in my business and make me money, I'm not doing it. Right. I learned that from Kate Butler. She taught me that. She said, if it's a repetitive task and doesn't move the needle in my business, if it doesn't make me money, I'm not doing it. So I'm outsourcing as much as I can, right? Groceries, factor meals, so the kids can just do whatever they want. My cleaning lady should be coming today. Oh God, I should probably open the door for her in a minute. I just realized that. But like
granular, and you have to really analyze and figure out, back to giving advice out there, people really need to figure out what they need to do. And for people like us, we need to separate it. So I decided TikTok will be the group that I don't know. They're not my family. They didn't know me as kids. And I'm just going to show up with them like that, Erin. And like, I'll never sell my marketing labs, my little, like never, but
and that's the perfect space for it, right? Like I almost want to do TikToks where I'm like, if you know me, you don't know me. Like if you see me on TikTok, you don't know me. Don't.
And I'm just gonna, then that'll be the community I build for the book I'm writing, Chasing Pretty, and the community and whatever. Like I'm not even selling anything on TikTok. But now companies are starting to, thanks to you, like contact me. Like I might get an outfit now for free, or something. Like
we'll go from trade to paid. You'll get there. It's not. Yeah. It takes a little bit, but you'll get there. I also
don't want to ruin the vibe I have, because getting $7 in sales or something and then losing 1,000 people, that's kind of not what I'm after. So, it's just interesting. So I think people need to get really clear with their brand, their why, and their what they really are trying to convey to the audience that they feel needs them.
And I think that that's where my brain is going towards, where it's like, okay, LinkedIn is my B2B. Mm-hmm. Instagram is more B2C. Mm-hmm. And TikTok is just like, I'm a show mom with ADHD trying my best to run 3 businesses and make this work. It's the reality behind the scenes. And so like, does that mean I have to now make content in 3 different ways? Yes.
Yeah.
But can you do that? Especially I have a VA now that helps me, where I can say, okay, this is this, this is this, this, and this. Right now we're sharing it across all platforms, but I know I can see where I'm going to start niching.
Yes.
to show different things.
Yes.
And I also feel like a lot of people don't utilize going live, right? Like my big thing right now is to explain to people, you don't need a network to greenlight whatever it is you're doing. You can do the thing, right? You don't have to do a podcast per se and put that much money into it. You can just start going live.
Right.
You can take those lives and cut those up. Like there's so many different ways to reuse content.
Yeah.
Right. And so we just have to be smarter about the strategy that we're using and like who we want to tell the story to. And like, can I niche down? Yes. But I think I can niche down in each platform, right? Where my ideal client is for each thing, because you and I are both the same. Like we don't have just one thing that we do, right? Like I'm writing a children's book. I have a boutique media company. I am a podcast host and producer. Like I'm also a content creator. I finally got $10 from Meta. I'm like so excited. I was like, oh my God. I was at like $2 for like the longest time. They're like, here's your $2. Right. I want people to understand like content creation. It's like, especially if you aren't as niched, like some niches take off immediately, others don't. And it takes time.
It does.
And so anybody looking at like influencers thinking like, oh my God, I want to do that. That's great. That's your side hustle. Keep your day job, get your paycheck. And like side hustle doing this, because you will not make money immediately. Just period. It's just the reality.
You know, I'm going to Nashville to sing. And you're like, no.
On the street as a performer.
I'm going to get discovered. Maybe. But, gone are the days where I'm like, I'm going to go to Hollywood and star in a show. Like, no, just, yes. Not saying don't dream. I'm not saying don't go for it, but can you do something while you're doing it? Like sliding doors versus
you got to pay the bills while you focus on the dream. Does that make sense?
People have to be smart and people have to think, and they can't make this assumption that they're going to put in like a week's worth of effort. Like everybody wants a pill, right? I mean, when I was trying to lose weight, so I've lost 100 pounds, I wanted a pill. I took pills. Didn't work. Eventually it worked, but it didn't work until I really figured out what was in my head, right? Then and even then it wasn't just a pill, or it wasn't, some people are doing shots and whatever, but it was this combo of things. It was me mentally figuring out like what really is the crap in my head. Why do I know that the fries and the onion rings and the soda, like why do I know all of that, right? Like, and why do I feel like I need all of that in good times and in bad? Like it's always there. The golden arches are always there for me in good times or in bad. So that has nothing to do with then taking the pill, right? Like if I still have that music track under filling my brand, no pill or shot or weight routine in the world, wall Pilates, whatever, shadow bathing, whatever all the ads we're getting right now. Like, I don't know what it's a recipe. Everybody has a unique recipe for yourself, your life, your health, and your company is no different. So it's never going to be a one size fits all. I promise you.
I love that parallel too, because I have the weight issue, right? Like I've similar like mindset. You're writing a book. I'm going to try to do webisodes with my daughter starring as me, because she's at that perfect age and looks like me. I'm like, oh my God, this is so perfect.
I love that.
We'll see if she plays along. But with like, I even had the conversation with my husband today. Like, I don't know that I want to do semaglutides, right? Or Ozempic, because I didn't fix why I'm eating here. Right. So getting thin, but still wanting all those things, even though they say it takes the cravings away, blah, blah, blah. I have to deal with this first before I can do anything else. And I learned that because I did the same thing. I've done the pills. I've done all the things. I've done the drops. I've lost all the weight and I've gained it all back. Yeah. And until we could really figure out what the mindset is and get clarity here and understand the why, we can't grow anything. We can't grow the business. We can't grow our lives. We can't like have the dream fulfilled, right? Because we have this false concept of the end result. We're attached to a certain outcome, but never really tried to figure out what the foundation was that we were building all this on.
Yeah.
And so that's why I love what you do, because you help everybody. Okay, what is the foundation? And then we can build upon that. Because a lot of people don't have clarity on this. I think they do, but they don't.
They don't.
Are you taking more clients? How can people get a hold of you? Give me all the things.
Text me. No, yes, I am. I'll always figure out a way to work with the projects that I know I'm supposed to work on, whether it's short term or long term. There's different ways I work with people. Sometimes I do group things at like a lower cost, ding, or then I'll do like the one-on-one for a larger cost, ding, whatever. So yes, well, my website is theerinnetwork.com. And yeah, and then you could connect with me I'm on everywhere, right? And so my email,
I'll put all the things.
yeah,
I'll put it all because I think you have a form on the website to fill out, which is probably the easiest way to get a hold of you. So you have some information.
I would love to talk to every single person.
And if you really want to know the real Erin, follow her TikTok.
Yes.
Because she's so funny. You're just so funny. I just love how real you are and how funny you are.
Thank you.
You always make me laugh. So thank you. And thank you for being thank you for being my mentor too. I feel like the big thing now is like collaboration over competition. And you had that in 1997. Yeah. Did not like, if I had questions, I knew to go to you, right? Because there are certain people you couldn't ask because they would be flustered, but you'd be like, let's figure it out. Speaking of let's figure it out, do you remember, because we both tell the same story of the Barbara Walters I don't know moment. Do you remember that moment? Like, I remember that moment. I don't know what I ate yesterday, but I could tell you what I didn't know when I told Barbara Walters. So Barbara Walters had this thing. I remember my very first interaction with her was she asked me a question, and I believe it was the order that the segment was going in. And I was just the intern, but I don't think she knew, like I was handing her blue card. I think she thought I was the producer. Yeah. And I just said, oh, I don't know. And she said, well, we don't say I don't know, dear. We say, I'll go figure that out. And I was like, I will go figure that out. And so I ran to the producer and was like, oh my God, she's asking me questions. What do I do? And they handled it from there. But I love that. Like, do you remember what that I don't know moment was with her? Like, we don't say I don't know. We go figure it out.
I have to say that I just knew not to say it. My mom is very similar to Barbara. So I felt like I was born ready for Barbara. My experience with Barbara is because I started at the small production company, I was trained very well to not get into I was just trained really well. So, I don't know for sure that I had that moment. What I did have was one time I said I was tired. We also don't tell people that we're tired. She's like, we don't tell people that we're tired. You don't think I'm tired? I'm like, no, I'm sure you're tired. She's like, you'll never hear me say I'm tired. She's like, because then there's somebody with more energy that's going to come in and do it better than you. And then they're going to be like, right? So I went, you're right. Yeah, you're right. So I'm not tired. Meanwhile, like I was so tired.
So tired. Well, I remember like when the show would travel, I would go because I knew how to do all the things, right? Because she can't have her assistants and this person and that person. So it was just easy to send me. And like, that was exhausting. And then like in that same vein, I remember having this conversation with Bill Geddie where I think I wanted like a quarter raise or something. And he was like, there's a line around the corner for your job. And I was like, okay, thank you, sir. May I please have another? I was like, okay, thank you.
But
you're not wrong.
But see, then I'm sassy. I'd be sassy back and I'd be like, well, the line around the corner, they will be shocked to hear that their starting salary is going to be, Monopoly money. And then he'd be like, shut up. And I'm like, I'm not wrong. And he's like, no, you're not. He's like, but I bet you I could find somebody. I'm like, come on. I'm like, just a little rate, and I get it.
Yeah, I wasn't there with them at that time in that conversation. I was like, okay, bye.
Well, staff used to have me go in to see if he was going to let us out early.
Every time. Oh, yeah. No, we would all wait for... We'd all wait for Erin.
Make Erin do it. Make Erin, go in. And so I'd be like, hey, Bill, what are you doing? And he's like, what do you want? I'm like, nothing. Just... why do I need to? I'm always sitting here. He's like, it's Friday before a holiday weekend. I'm like, and I want to see what you and the girls are doing this weekend. Don't you want to know what I'm doing this weekend? Right. My thing was, I had to ask Bill Geddie 13 times to leave early for a wedding because I was a bridesmaid at least 13 to 15 times. And the rehearsal dinners were always Friday with the wet, right? So he's like, you have to be lying at this point. I'm like, I'm not. So then
But you're that friend. You're everybody's friend. Everybody wants you in their wedding. Of course they do.
And I was the last friend to get married, last family member, last friend. Well, kind of, right? So I had so many bridesmaids that I made it into Brides Magazine. I'm divorced now, but you know, it was, so when Bill finally came to my wedding, I said, you thought I was lying. Cause he's like, how many bridesmaids do you have? I said, you thought I was lying. I said, I've sat at your desk and all the navy blues I've asked for you because they all got married. These are proof I wasn't lying. I'm like, see those two in the light blue? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm about to ask for those two coming up within 2 months because they just got engaged. I'm like, so just say yes now. It was a fun moment.
I love you. Thank you for doing this.